Imagine I tell you, the anxiety that paralyzes you, steals your peace, and traps you is not something you have to carry for the rest of your life. Hard to believe, right? Have you ever thought that one single thought can completely change your reality? I know it sounds crazy, but I want to show you it is possible, because I was where you are now, and today I am sharing with you the secrets that changed everything in my life. I want to lead you to 4 powerful thoughts that can dissolve anxiety and give you back control over your life. These are not theories. These are truths I have learned through more than 58 years of research on the human mind, starting with myself. Come with me on this journey, and I promise, if you listen, you will leave this video seeing things with completely different eyes. Have you ever felt a pressure in your chest when you think about the future? Maybe because you do not know how you will pay the bills at the end of the month, or because you feel that no matter how hard you try, you never reach what you want. Who has not tossed and turned for hours in bed with thoughts that seem unsolvable? I know that feeling. I was caught in a whirlpool where my thoughts kept projecting the same fears over and over. But there is a truth that changed everything for me. You have the right to choose what you think. This is not magic, not luck. It is an ability we all have, but few know how to use. And today I will show you how this simple action can change your life, from chaos to clarity, from fear to freedom. When I was younger, my life was a complete mess. I had no money. I left school after 2 months and I was convinced I was destined to fail. I worried about everything, how I would survive, what others thought of me, whether I could leave the small town where I grew up. My mind was like a radio that broadcast only bad news 24 hours a day. Then someone stopped me and said, "You do not have to think this way. You can choose what controls your thoughts." At first I thought it was just nice talk. How could someone in debt and with no future have a different mindset? But I decided to try, and it was like a door opened. I started imagining a better life, not just dreaming but seeing myself in detail. A comfortable home, an inspiring job, the feeling of freedom. And you know what happened? For the first time in years, I felt deep joy, like I was reborn, like I discovered a part of myself I had not known before. Just think, how many times have you caught yourself thinking about what you do not have? Money that is missing, time that is never enough, or the confidence you want but do not feel? According to the American Scientific Foundation, 80% of our thoughts are negative, and most of the time we repeat the same thoughts day after day. That means, without realizing it, most of our time is spent reinforcing fear, doubt, and uncertainty. Have you ever asked yourself, why do I choose the thoughts that cause me pain? Maybe you think you have no choice when these thoughts just come. But here is the secret. You are the master of your mind. You decide what you focus on, what drags you down or lifts you up. Imagine you are preparing for a job interview. Your mind starts the race. What if I am not good enough? What if they do not like me? What if I freeze? Who has not felt that knot in their stomach? Now stop and change the channel. Ask yourself, what if I succeed in this interview? What if this is the opportunity that changes my life? What if I am confident and prepared? This simple shift in thought changes how you feel. Studies at Stanford University show that those who practice positive thinking reduce their cortisol levels by 23%. That is the stress hormone. This is not just inspiring talk. Your body actually responds to what your mind chooses. Let me tell you a story that illustrates this. A few years ago at one of my seminars, I met a man named John. He was a father of 2, working a job where he barely made ends meet, and constantly afraid he would not be able to support his family. He told me, "I have not slept well for months. I only think about my debts and what will happen if I lose my job." I challenged him to change his thoughts. I asked him every morning to write down 3 things he wanted to achieve, as if they had already happened. I have a job where I am valued. I easily pay my bills. I am a confident and present father. At first, he found it strange, but then he started imagining these things and feeling a life without burden. 3 months later, he was promoted, started planning a small business, and most importantly, He said he felt joy he had not felt since childhood. When he told me this, his voice was shaking and I saw the change in his eyes. Now think of someone like Jim Carrey. Before he was a worldwide star, he was just a young boy with no money, living in a trailer with his family. He said he wrote imaginary checks to himself and imagined one day getting paid for his talent. Instead of scarcity, he thought about success. And see, he achieved it. Example of currency conversion. If you have a bill of 1,000 Brazilian reals, that is about 338 US dollars. That money is not just a number, but worry, responsibility, and a growth opportunity. Remember, your mind is the most powerful tool you own. Use it wisely, and you will free yourself from the chains of anxiety. Think about how many people you know who are talented, smart, yet stuck because they focus on the fear of failure. They think, what if I try and fail? What if they laugh at me? So they never move forward. It's not the world holding them back. It's the choice they made in their mind. Here is a practical exercise you can start today. Take out a notebook and write, I choose to think about abundance. I choose to believe in my abilities. Then write down 3 things you want in your life. These can be simple, like, I want to be more confident at work, or I want financial stability. Write it as if it has already happened. For example, I am grateful for my steady income. Every morning read these sentences out loud and imagine living in that reality. Feel what it's like to already own what you desire. Sounds silly? Maybe. But this is exactly what I did when I was at my lowest, and it pulled me out. Today I run an international company that helps millions because I chose to believe this path was possible. Challenge. For 10 days, start each morning with 3 affirmations that describe what you desire as if it is already true. Say them out loud, imagine them in detail, and write down your feelings during this time. You will notice your energy, confidence, and even opportunities change. Why do so many choose to think the worst? Because no one taught us this decision is in our hands. School taught us math and history, but no one told us that our mind is like a garden. You choose what to plant. If you plant fear, you harvest anxiety. But if you plant hope, confidence, and possibility, you will reap a life beyond your dreams. And what's the most amazing part? You can start right now. No money needed, no special time required, just the decision to think differently. So why choose thoughts that hold you back? Why not choose those that take you where you want to go? The decision is yours, and it starts now. Have you ever wondered why your stomach knots up when you think about the future? Why even when everything seems fine, there's that inner voice whispering, something will go wrong. Maybe you fear you won't have enough money to pay bills, or you'll never reach your dreams no matter how hard you try. I've been there too, living in a constant spiral of anxiety. But there is one truth that changed everything. Every fear has its root in ignorance. Not lack of information, but not understanding how your mind works. And here's the good news. Knowledge is the key that frees you from this invisible prison. And today, I will show you how to find that key. When I was young, my life was chaos. I was bankrupt without a degree, thinking I would never succeed. I lived in constant fear, unable to pay rent, disappointing others, never climbing out of the hole. I felt like a boat lost in a storm, without a map. Then one day a mentor told me something I'll never forget. You don't have to live like this. Anxiety comes because you don't understand your mind. But if you start learning, it's like turning on a light in a dark room. He gave me a book and challenged me. Study not the outside world, but myself. I started reading, taking notes, watching videos, and a miracle happened. The more I learned, the less fear I felt. I discovered a supernatural power inside me that was always there. The feeling of inspiration, the realization that I could change my reality, brought tears to my eyes. Think, how many times have you felt stuck because you didn't know what to do next? Maybe you looked at your bank account and thought, what now? Or you have a dream, like starting a business or traveling the world, but don't know how to begin. Harvard research shows continuous learning can increase happiness by as much as 20%. because knowledge helps you master your emotions. Without understanding your mind, it's like driving a car without a steering wheel. But when you learn the rules that govern your mind, it's like getting the manual for your life. Let me tell you a story about the power of knowledge. A few years ago at a seminar, I met a woman named Eva. She was a single mother, working 2 jobs, constantly afraid she wouldn't have enough money for her children. She said, "I haven't slept well for years. I only think about bills, my child's future, and I'm terrified everything will collapse." I asked her, "What if instead of fear, you start learning how to change this?" I gave her a simple task: spend 15 minutes daily reading or watching something inspiring. She started reading books like The Power of the Subconscious Mind, taking notes. Within months, she not only found a better job, but began teaching her child about the mind's power. When she told me her story, I knew knowledge, used well, can transform a person's life. His voice was full of enthusiasm as he said, "I never thought self-awareness could change my life so profoundly." His transformation was deeply inspiring, and everyone present at the seminar was moved. Now think of someone like Elon Musk. He is famous for his unstoppable curiosity in exploring engineering, physics, and technology. He does not accept ignorance as a limit. He seeks knowledge to make the impossible possible. This is the power that learning can give, understanding how the world works and how our minds work. On the other hand, how many people do you know who get stuck just because they don't seek answers? They think, "I don't know enough, so I might as well not try." And so anxiety takes over them. It is not a lack of resources that stops them, but a lack of knowledge. Here's a practical example for you that you can start today. Suppose you worry about your finances. Instead of letting fear control you, spend 10 minutes each day learning something new about financial awareness. It could be a YouTube video about budgeting, an article about investing, or even a book excerpt on abundance mindset. Write down one inspiring thought and ask yourself, how can I apply this in my life? You might discover how to save $45,000 each month or gain the courage to ask for a raise. The point is, knowledge is power. When I started learning, I had nothing, no money, no degree. But as I read books and attended seminars, I learned how to control my thoughts, and that led me to build an international business. Knowledge was the bridge that led me to freedom. Your challenge: for 14 days, spend 15 minutes every day learning something that brings you closer to your goals. It can be a book, a podcast, or even this video again. Each day, write down one new idea and note how you could apply it. At the end, examine how your perspective has changed. You will see more clearly than you ever imagined. Why do so many people live in ignorance? Because no one taught us how to study ourselves. We learn history and science in school, but no one tells us that understanding our mind is the key to everything else. Have you ever wondered why you repeat the same patterns over and over? Why anxiety returns even when you think everything is fine? Because ignorance is like a chain that holds you in the past. Knowledge is the key that opens the door to the future. And the best part? Everything is at your fingertips. Books, videos, seminars, all available to you. So why choose darkness when you can light a lamp and discover what you are capable of? Start today and you will see. Knowledge not only dispels anxiety but also gives you wings. Imagine, instead of scrolling on your phone for 30 minutes, you use that time to learn something that could change your life. It may seem small, but it is like planting a seed that grows and transforms everything around you. Have you noticed how some people seem to glide through life easily, calmly, and confidently, even when the world around them is in chaos? Meanwhile, you might already feel anxious at the thought of what could go wrong: a presentation, a bill to pay, or the uncertainty of the future. Who hasn't imagined the worst-case scenario, as if the mind were writing a horror movie script? I know that feeling because I was once driven by fear, thinking it was stronger than me. But there is one truth that changed my life. Fear can be replaced by faith. Not blind faith, but faith based on understanding. When we do this, the world opens up, as if we have found the peace we have always searched for. A few years ago, I felt completely lost. I had no money, no health, no hope. My mind was full of fears. Fear of failure, feeling inadequate, the sense that life was just a series of disappointments. I remember one evening, sitting in my small rented apartment, looking at bills I couldn't pay. My heart was pounding and I felt like the floor had slipped out from under me. Then someone shared a thought with me that changed everything. Fear and faith are both choices, and both require believing in something you cannot yet see. Fear makes you believe you will fail. Faith, which comes from understanding how the mind works, tells you that you can succeed. I started learning, visualizing what I wanted, a prosperous, healthy, impactful life. And slowly I felt deep gratitude, so strong it almost broke my heart. It was like I found the map that led me out of the maze of fear. Think for a moment. How many times have you let fear control your life? Maybe you wanted to ask for a raise but thought, what if my boss laughs at me? Or you dreamed of starting a business but a voice in your head said, what if I lose everything? A study from the University of California found that chronic fear raises cortisol levels, which can reduce decision-making ability by up to 30%. This means fear not only paralyzes you emotionally, but also undermines your mind's clarity. But here is the secret. Faith, when based on understanding, is the antidote. Faith does not mean thinking everything will be fine, but knowing you can shape your reality with the power of your mind. I want to share a story that perfectly illustrates this. Once at a seminar, I met a man named Carlos. He was talented, but his fear of public speaking always paralyzed him, holding back his career growth. He said, whenever I have to present, I get nervous and can only think about failing. I taught him how to replace fear with knowledge-based faith. I asked him to practice speech techniques, but more importantly, to visualize success. Every night he had to imagine himself speaking confidently, connecting with the audience and feeling proud. At first, he thought it was a waste of time. But after a few weeks, he gave a presentation that surprised his colleagues and supervisors. When we met again, he was energetic, nearly in tears, thanking me and saying, I never thought I could feel this strong. The faith he built through practice and knowledge dispelled his fear. Now think of someone like Oprah Winfrey. She grew up in poverty, faced abuse and rejection, yet she chose to believe she could change her life. She studied, sought mentors, and developed strong faith in her abilities. Today, she is a symbol of success and inspiration. That faith did not come out of nowhere. It was born from understanding that our thoughts shape our reality. On the other hand, how many people do you know who, although talented, hold themselves back because they choose fear? They think, I'm not good enough. This is not for me. So they never discover their true potential. Here is a practical task for you to start today. Suppose you are nervous about an important meeting. Instead of letting fear control you, stop for a moment and close your eyes. Imagine the meeting going well. You speak confidently, everyone listens, and you leave with a smile on your face. Feel that success. Then ask yourself, what can I do to prepare? Maybe you review your notes or practice your speech. This is the knowledge that strengthens faith. When I began applying this, no one knew me. I had no degree, but I always imagined speaking in front of people. Today I speak to millions worldwide. Knowledge-based faith led me here. Challenge. In the next 7 days, when you feel fear or worry, stop and imagine the best possible scenario for 2 minutes. Experience the feeling of success. Then write down a specific step you can take to get closer to that outcome. Finally, note how you felt. You will see your energy change. Why do so many choose fear? Because no one taught them how to build faith. In school we learn formulas and data, but no one tells us that knowledge-based faith can move mountains. Have you ever wondered why some people thrive even in the toughest times? They are not lucky. They believe they can create something. And you can too. Imagine you are stuck in traffic and running late for an important appointment. Instead of thinking, I am going to ruin everything, choose this instead. I will arrive and perform my best. This choice changes everything. A Harvard study shows that positive visualization can improve performance in stressful situations by up to 15%. So why not try it? Why let fear write your life story? Change your perspective. Have you considered using your energy to imagine how wonderfully things could turn out instead of worrying about what might go wrong? It is like exchanging the weight on your shoulders for wings. Try it and feel it. Knowledge-based faith is like a compass in a storm. It does not eliminate challenges but shows the way. When you understand that your thoughts shape your reality, fear loses its power. Have you ever felt that everything is in place, as if the universe is secretly supporting you? That is faith at work. So why choose fear when you can choose faith? Start now. Imagine what you want, learn how to get it, and believe. Not because it is easy, but because it is possible. Have you noticed how your body reacts when anxiety takes over? Tightness in your chest, stiff shoulders, shallow breathing, as if the whole world is pressing down on you. You may often feel tired, suffer from sudden pains, or toss and turn at night because your mind won't rest. I know this because I have lived it. I felt my body screaming under the weight of my thoughts. But there is a truth that changed everything. Your body is just a reflection of your mind. What you think, what you allow into your mind, affects your health, your energy, and your quality of life. When you learn to control your thoughts, you will not only feel different but live differently. I used to be only a shadow of myself, constantly sick, headaches, exhausted, as if my body gave up. Negative thoughts, fear, and failure trapped me. I thought this was a natural part of hard life, until someone showed me that my body only reflected what my mind projected. I started changing my thoughts, turning towards gratitude, health, and possibilities. Slowly, the pain diminished, my energy returned, and I felt a deep peace that was almost miraculous. My body seemed to say, "Thank you for finally listening." This feeling, this harmony of life, fills you with a power words cannot describe. It is as if I found my place in the universe. Have you ever wondered how your body reacts to stress? Maybe you grind your teeth at night or your heart beats faster before an important meeting. Have you ever thought about why this happens? Research from the University of California shows that chronic anxiety raises cortisol, the stress hormone, which can lead to insomnia, muscle pain, and even more serious problems. When you allow negative thoughts to build up, worrying about money, fearing failure, feeling uncertain about the future, your mind sends signals to your body, which responds with stress, exhaustion, and sometimes depression. But here is the good news. Just as negative thoughts can bring you down, positive thinking can lift you up. When you focus on the good things, gratitude, and harmony, your body responds with health, energy, and vitality. Let me share a true story about this. At one of my talks, I met a woman named Marina. She was exhausted, suffering from chronic pain, and diagnosed with depression. She told me, "I don't even remember what joy feels like anymore. My body seems to be working against me." I helped her change her mindset. I asked her to write down 3 things she was grateful for every morning, even small things like the sunshine or a hot cup of coffee. I also asked her to imagine herself healthy, strong, and full of life. At first, she thought it was silly, but she kept at it. A few months later, her pain decreased, she slept better, and she said she felt a relief she hadn't experienced in years. When she told me this, her eyes shone, and she laughed like she had found her life again. Her change inspired everyone around her. Now think about Amy Winehouse. She was an exceptional artist whose talent touched many people. But anxiety and depression, fueled by uncertainty and pressure, took a toll on her health. She didn't have the knowledge to change her life, and her body paid the price. This tragedy reminds us that what we carry in our minds shows up in our bodies. On the other hand, you surely know people who are always cheerful, even when facing difficulties, not because they have no problems, but because they think differently. They focus on gratitude and opportunities, and their bodies reflect that energy. Here is a simple exercise you can start today. If you feel overwhelmed by stress, bills, deadlines, uncertainty before going to bed, stop. Grab a notebook and write down 3 good things that happened that day. It could be a conversation with a friend, a hearty laugh, or simply the fact that you are here trying to improve. Then close your eyes and imagine your body relaxing, healthy, and full of energy. Feel that peace. According to research from the University of California, practicing gratitude can reduce anxiety by up to 23% and improve sleep quality. When I started doing this, I was weak and tired, but over time, my body began to respond. Today, I live with a vitality I never dreamed of because I learned to create health with my mind, not illness. Your challenge: for 10 days, every night before going to sleep, write down 3 things you are grateful for and imagine for 2 minutes that your body is healthy and peaceful. Note how you feel physically during this time. You will notice the difference in your energy and mental state. Why do so many people live with tense bodies and exhausted minds? Because no one taught us that the mind controls the body. Have you ever wondered why tension weighs on your shoulders even after a peaceful day? Because the mind radiates tension, fear, and doubt. But you can change that. Imagine worrying about money. Instead of thinking, "I will never have enough," try saying, "I am grateful for the opportunities coming my way." Imagine easily solving your financial problems. It sounds simple but is extremely powerful. When I did this, I went from a weak, sick person to a global business builder. My body now reflects the inner peace I created in my mind. Change your habits. Have you ever thought that instead of being controlled by stress, you spend 5 minutes every day telling your body, you are okay, strong, capable? Like giving yourself a hug. Try it and see how your body reacts. Your body is a mirror of your mind. Every fearful thought creates tension. Every grateful thought creates harmony. Have you ever felt a moment when everything was right, as if your body was light and your mind clear? This happens when you choose uplifting thoughts. So why do you still carry the weight of anxiety? Why not choose thoughts that bring you to life? Start now and watch your body transform into the best version of yourself. You have the power to shape your reality with your thoughts. This is the key to turning anxiety into peace, fear into faith, and your life into something extraordinary. Don't ignore this thought. It is the first step toward true change. Now I invite you to take one more step on your journey. The next video will help you become better every day. Thank you for being here with me, and I hope we continue the transformation together in the next video.